Police rush to the scene after one of their own is shot in the line of duty. People who live in the Linden neighborhood see the cruisers descend and the yellow tape go up. Some take refuge in the nearby library.
And I just hear toot, toot, toot. And then I hear all these sirens. I was scared to come outside. I had to stay in the library. So I thought I was going to get shot.
Jabari Thompson says he doesn't want children to be exposed to the violence and the drug culture.
It's kids out here. It's too many kids. It's hot. Kids coming out here. It's Linden. If you're going to be out here doing that stuff, take it somewhere else, bro.
This woman, Tamika Sherman, says her father lives at the home that was raided. Sherman tells us she was shot at the gas station last month.
I don't like the guns. I don't. I'm a victim of a gun shooting, so right now. So I'm against all that.
Some who live here tell us they're thankful for the officers trying to keep their neighborhood safe.
The officers do the best they can to protect our lives, and I appreciate that. They do the best they can, and they out here getting shot for us.
We hurting each other, okay? We're going to have to stop this and start coming together.
Let's try right down here. We're going to look for a Helgermite.
If you look closely,
That's a lot of little organisms. I know, isn't it wild?
you'll find a wealth of wildlife in Big Darby Creek.
It's amazing how much life there is in a square yard of river bottom.
Biologist Heather Doherty says that's a good sign.
The small things really matter.
In fact, more organisms like beetles and crayfish means less pollution in the water.
Again, these are all things that are very sensitive to pollution. And the fact that our net is just so full of them is a really great sign.
Doherty and volunteers across Central Ohio collect and count these macroinvertebrates 3 times every summer.
The idea is that it's very inexpensive and accessible and something that anybody can do, and they don't have to be an expert to do it.
Seeing what we missed.
They use the data to monitor the quality of the rivers over time, something that's especially important now as Columbus continues growing.
Not all bodies of water are places where you want to play, where you want to put your feet in, and we feel like this is something that all Ohioans should have an opportunity to do. We have caddisflies, we have riffle beetles.
Doherty wants to use the data to make sure these waterways keep their reputations as some of the best in the country for the next 50 years.
There's always more work to be done to make sure our rivers are healthy.
So today is an awesome day. Isaiah and his family were referred to Make-A-Wish. He has no idea, so he is going to be quite surprised when he gets home.
Christine's Christmas has raised $1 million for children's charities.
It changes their lives. It impacts them and the family and the community.
It's just such a joy to be working with them.
He was diagnosed with a rare form of leukemia in 2016.
Surprise! How are you?
I'm good. Jesus.
I'm happy that he finally gets to have his wish granted.
I was shocked. You know, my heart was racing. I was completely shocked. I didn't think it would happen whatsoever.
He just always loved music, and I think that it really helped him throughout his diagnosis and his treatments. That's one of the few things he had while he was going through treatments was music, and so I think that's kind of why he latched on to music production.
I did not expect this at all. I'll be on it a lot, making music. Grateful, appreciate it.
It really does make a huge impact in kids that are facing these devastating diagnoses, and I think it gives them a lot of hope for something to look forward to as they're going through treatments and recovery.
Charlie Cook began life one step behind everybody else.
Charlie had a stroke in utero.
Mom Valerie says the prognosis was grim.
So they really didn't think that he had much of a chance to live at that time.
If he lived, they said, he'd never hold up his head, speak, or walk. But as Charlie reached his first birthday and beyond, the Cooks saw things in Charlie the doctors couldn't or wouldn't see.
We figured out very quickly we had to stop listening to any limits. And no one was able to account for his determination.
Charlie began to sit up and talk.
And he started using a walker at 3 years old. But we were still told that he would be wheelchair bound.
Not this kid. After a special surgery and physical therapy, Charlie began taking steps on his own.
Go, Charlie! Charlie, go! Yay!
And for Charlie, the race was on.
So we started to put him in every activity we could find and things he wanted to do.
Anything and everything.
He did horseback riding, he's done gymnastics, he joined the running club, he's done baseball with Miracle League, and all sorts of other activities. And at this point, he really is enjoying Taekwondo.
He's earned a green belt with a stripe.
So when Charlie comes to you and says, I want to take Taekwondo, is your answer immediately okay?
Yeah, it's okay. And then he'll tell me, I'm going to get a black belt. And I said, okay, let's go do it.
Charlie's ready for his next challenge at the Chiller Ice Rink, where he's learning to skate with another goal in mind.
Big brother plays hockey. He wants to play hockey.
Keep on trying, and you can do hard things. No!
For now, Charlie's hockey games are limited to the carpet with siblings Robbie and Izzy. But he's getting stronger, running with them, and recently completing a 2-mile run all by himself. As for Charlie's future,
I don't know. I know it's going to be amazing. That's all I know.
A lifetime of blue ribbons for sure.
The roar of the engines.
A sound they're not used to in Pickerington shook the home of William and Janie Whitehead this morning.
3 came over at one time. I heard one, and then another one real quick, and then another one. I said, uh-oh, something going on.
William was right. A few dozen F-22 Raptor fighter jets were responding to danger, but instead of flying into it, they were flying away.
It's to get them away from the severe weather.
Colonel Mark Auer is hosting these fighters from Virginia to protect them from hurricane damage. At $150 million apiece, they are worth it.
It's the best fighter in the world.
The Air Force sent its own pilots and crew along with the planes today.
That was about an hour, direct flight.
Lieutenant Colonel Nick Sigler is one of them, saving his jet from potential storm surge.
If that hurricane sits over the coast or sits over the Carolinas and the Virginia area, who knows how much rain.
But Ohio's forecast is dry for now, with a chance of an impromptu air show.
A rush to see them take off. Just pounding, the adrenaline starts going.
With signs in hand, these parents want students in the Minford School District to know it's okay to speak out when you've been hurt.
We want to make sure that the kids know that they can talk about it and that there are people who are going to listen.
The rally comes a week after several Minford 7th graders came back from a school field trip at the Tim Horton camp in Kentucky. While there, several students claimed they were sexually assaulted by some of their classmates. Kentucky State Patrol detectives are investigating, but the school district and police won't give out specifics. Angela Queen's son is a 7th grader.
He was severely bullied to the point where he tried to commit suicide.
She believes bullying is at the core of the allegations.
The kids that are rumored to have done this are the same kids that bullied my son, and that's why I am here.
The district says several students have already been disciplined, but the superintendent won't say how many students or what the punishment was.
You think your child goes on a field trip and they're going to come back from the field trip the way they left. But these kids went on a field trip and came back forever changed in a terrible way.
These parents still say the district isn't doing enough to keep their children safe. And until the investigation is over, they'll continue to speak out.
Thanks!
Both on Facebook and here. In Minford, I'm Maria Durant, ABC 6 News.
The Columbus Park of Roses is filled with the sounds of snipping and clipping. The park is lush and green, and if you look closely, it's filled with lots of other colors too.
We have grandifloras and floribundas, all of which need care.
Liz Cabot is a volunteer rose caretaker and says the cool weather late in the spring threw them off a bit.
Last year was a very early start, so this year was a little more normal, but later than we were used to from last year.
Then the rain came in May and June.
There's probably been less watering. Roses don't like to be wet all the time, so that probably makes a difference.
Bringing us a surplus of 8 inches so far for the year and plenty of muggy days.
We haven't had any cancellations of volunteer groups due to rain, but it's been very hot working here, much hotter than we were expecting in June.
Now we haven't had rain in Columbus the last 4 days, which can leave things looking dry quickly this time of year.
We have to water every day because we have a lot of pots and impatiens.
Cabot says a little bit of natural rain is welcome anytime, though.
In September, there'll be a second big bloom.
As long as it comes back in moderation.
Cooler and sunny is good for roses, so that would be great.
It's a famous airplane.
Interesting airplane.
The airplane is the nation's first all-metal airliner. Hop in. It was known as the Tin Goose. This is a 1928 model airplane. 8 missions to space.
Between us.
There's no other couple, I think, that flew as many times.
Hoot was a pilot. I was a mission specialist.
It's a hoot to be able to share the aerodynamics of yesteryear with somebody who's used to going 17,000 miles an hour.
It's like sitting on top of an explosion when you first launch, but it only takes about 8.5 minutes to get to space.
Actually started West Coast air travel out of Columbus, headed west. So this is a time travel machine. People get to see the beginning of an airline industry.
Have you ever flown it?
I have flown the Tin Goose before.
He's flown everything.
But only once. So yeah, it'd be cool.
Okay, that's okay.
Just inside the door at the Upper Arlington Municipal Building,
So what did you have to do to get this together?
Joseph Piccinini is showing his true colors.
Thank you.
Red, white, and blue.
It's a really important symbol to me because I live in this country and there's a lot of like freedoms in this country that a lot of other countries don't have that are like protected by like the amendments and Bill of Rights, and I just think that's like important, and the flag like stands for those.
He's turned his love of the American flag into something that will give him the highest rank achievable in the Boy Scouts.
Well, my Eagle Project is a project that educates the Upper Arlington community about the United States flag.
That project make it easy for people to retire Old Glory when it becomes too old to fly.
There's no like set way to do a flag retirement ceremony. It just has to be respectful.
He and his scout troop have conducted ceremonies at the Hilliard VFW Post 4931, burning the flags in a fire pit.
What you want to do with the ashes is you want to bury them.
But you can't have a ceremony without the flags. These photos document Joseph's 4-month effort to write a pamphlet about flag history and etiquette, hold a car wash to raise money, and use the money to create this drop box where citizens can leave their tattered American flags in Joseph's caring hands.
We first thought to put it at the school, but then we thought it would be a better idea to put it in the municipal building because there's more foot traffic here, obviously.
And there it is. From now on, Joseph's flag drop box, ready to accept your American flag, worn, faded, torn, or soiled for proper disposal. An Eagle Scout project with real meaning.
I'm glad that I could have got this one done because it leaves that lasting impression and it like educates people in the community about the flag. So I'm really happy that it is done and it's leaving a lasting impression too.